Like I told you when we met in our office, I don't have any gotcha questions, or I would let you know. So let me go along the line of the first statement I want to make. I don't expect you to answer unless I have some misunderstanding of our position discussed in my office. Pro-growth tax reform will be a top priority for you. I agree and look forward to working with you and President-elect Trump on that point. As part of any tax reform proposal, it will be important that adequate transition rules are included to provide a smooth transition for businesses that may be unpredictably negatively impacted. As we discussed in our meeting, Congress has already effectively put in place transition rules for some alternative energy, including wind. The production tax credit is currently scheduled to phase out over the next few years, ending in 2020. Based upon our conversation, I believe that we are in agreement that you would support the current phase out as part of any tax reform proposal. Question 2. I've been a strong proponent of the IRS private debt collection program, as has Senator Schumer. In 2015, Congress updated and made mandatory the IRS private debt collection program. This program is designed to chip away at the tax gap by requiring the IRS to contract with private debt collectors to collect inactive tax debt owed. These are the tax debts not being worked by the IRS, and absent this program would likely never be collected, adding up to $187 million in 2017. Out of that $187 million, the Treasury Department has provided debt collectors to collect a net of $8 million. This certainly is not due to the lack of inactive tax debt available for the IRS to assign. According to the Government Accountability Office report, the IRS has over $130 billion of outstanding debt on its books. So hamstringing this program by refusing to release inactive debt for the program ought to be considered unacceptable by anybody. So can you give me assurances that the Department of Treasury, under your leadership, will work to implement the program to the full extent of authorized law and bring in this tax money that's not being collected?
Yes, Senator. And first of all, thank you for having spent time with me. I appreciate the opportunity to speak to you about a lot of important issues. And on these issues, I absolutely agree with you that we do need to have phase-out rules when we change things, and I support the phase-out of that as you've suggested. And then on the IRS, I think that most aspects of taxes should be handled by the IRS. But as you've described, to the extent we have $100+ billion of receivables that are just sitting there, and that we can collect tens of millions or hundreds of millions of dollars for the American public, particularly in an environment where we're looking for money for so many programs. This, to me, I agree with you, seems like a very obvious thing to do.
Yeah. This will have to be my last question. In 2006, I was successful in enacting legislation to enhance the IRS whistleblower program. The program has been one of the most effective programs in addressing tax evasion, leading to the recovery of more than $3 4/10 billion in taxes that would have otherwise been lost to fraud. However, there has been resistance within the IRS to the whistleblower program. An ongoing concern has been poor communication with whistleblowers who often wait in the dark years with no feedback from the bureaucracy. Another concern is that the IRS has chosen to interpret the whistleblower law narrowly to the detriment of whistleblowers in several instances. For example, the IRS has interpreted the terms collected proceeds, which is the base for determining the amount of an award, to exclude criminal penalties and certain other proceeds, such as penalties assessed for undisclosed foreign bank accounts. Two questions, and I'll state them both. Should you be confirmed Can I count on you to be supportive of the whistleblower program and work to ensure its success? And additionally, would you be willing to review the IRS's administration of the program, including its very narrow interpretation of the words collected proceeds?
Absolutely, Senator. You have my assurance. And let me further go on to say that the majority of Americans voluntarily file their tax returns honestly. But we are all aware that there is tax fraud and there is tax evasion, as you said, and we need to be diligent, and I believe that the whistleblower laws are a very important part of that. So I will work very hard with you on that. Thank you, Senator.
Thank you very much. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.